Hello and welcome back to another episode of Live on Location with Bowen and Mimi. We're in beautiful Revelstoke, BC with Isabel Kessi. Hello.
Hi.
In her gorgeous backyard with her fun, playful, beautiful Aussie Shepherd dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Isabel was born in Switzerland, and I think you trained as a chef.
I did, yeah.
And worked your way around the country in different kitchens.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And then went to university and studied food sciences and technology, and eventually made your way to Canada.
Yeah,
But
I did.
There's lots of stories in there, so maybe we can start with Switzerland and see where we go.
Sure. Yeah, I grew up in Switzerland. I went to school there. Trained as a chef, and then life as a chef is a little hard.
Pretty high stress.
It's high stress. It's not the healthiest environment. So I always knew that I wouldn't be a chef for the rest of my life.
Right.
So
and did you grow up in the kitchen with your mom, and how did you get interested in food?
Both my parents are trained chefs, so food has always been around.
And a garden as well?
Oh yeah. There's lots of gardening with my parents, with my grandparents. Yeah, always surrounded by food in some sorts. Yeah. And so, eventually I went back to university and studied food science and technology. And it's basically like how to produce or process food on a bigger scale.
Right. So when you were working in the kitchens, it was really more that the stress of the job and the unhealthy environment made you do the switch. And
yeah, exactly.
So then you finished your degree and you decide, okay, I'm ready for a change. And so the calling came for Canada, or did you do some traveling?
Well, I did some traveling during my first year of university, and that's when I met my husband. He's Canadian. So we went back and forth for 5 years, but eventually, you just want to see how a relationship works when you're not on different continents. Yeah, so I got a job in Canmore and moved to Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
And were you working in a kitchen in Canmore?
No, I was working for a butcher shop. Yeah. So it was still within my skills level, I guess, or my industry. Just in the Canadian version, which was fun.
Okay, I was wondering about the differences between a Canadian butcher shop and a Swiss butcher shop. Was it quite a different environment, or?
It was, as in how do I say? In Switzerland, it's a lot more about work, whereas the company I worked for in Canmore, it was also you have a life and you want to go camping on the weekend and you want to, do all the Bow Valley stuff. So it was a really good balance. Yeah.
Healthier balance. Sure.
Yeah, I like that.
I actually have a friend who is a butcher in Armstrong, and he trained in Switzerland.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of Swiss butchers in Canada. Yeah.
So to get a bit sciencey and technical, when you're working in a butcher shop and you've trained in food sciences and technology, what are you seeing there as far as regulations go?
Well, there's lots going on, obviously, from the ingredients that you're allowed to use to how to wash, how to make sure that your food is properly cooked. You don't want raw ham on your sandwich, right? And with all the challenges that it comes with. Yeah.
Was it a big shop? Were there quite a few staff?
Yeah, it was a family business, but there was lots going on. It was really fun. Yeah, good times.
When you made the switch back to Revelstoke, or you were able to come and live and work full time, was that also with a butcher in Revi, or?
No, when my work at Helmut ended just organically, they built a huge facility and they needed somebody on site. So we finished that, and then I started my own company because there's not a lot of work for somebody with my background in Revi. And I started working at the farmer's market part-time. So I was just trying to piece it together, how to make a living in this beautiful town.
Right. I was thinking about if you could be a food inspector in Revelstoke, that would be one career that you could look at. Or
I could, but The way it works in Canada is a lot different. I would have to go back to school.
Okay.
And we don't have one in Revi. It's Salmon Arm that services us. So yeah, it wouldn't just be enough work for me. But that's okay. Yeah, I somehow made my own way.
You sure did. So was that in 2020 then that you made the connection with LFI?
Yeah, exactly. We moved to Revelstoke in 2019, and then in the winter of 2019, I started working for the Revelstoke Winter Market, which at the time was not part of the local food initiative. So I already got into the farmers market world a little bit, got to know a lot of vendors. And then they were looking for a market manager with the local food initiative for the summer market. And that's how I got into that. Yeah.
Amazing. So we should let viewers know. So LFI is the Revelstoke Local Food Initiative. And I won't go into too many details about the board and how it's set up, but it does seem like there is quite a big board, a lot of members.
Yeah, we have, your regular board of directors. And then within the local food initiative, there's a bunch of different programs that we do, but it's more like, I can say there's maybe 3 main goals. One is to give people access to local food. So by running the farmers market, we host a garlic festival, we host a farm to table dinner. And so that kind of takes care of the access to food. And then the second one is about education. So we host workshops, we offer the community garden as like a part of like a learning project. We go to high schools where we talk to kids about how to farm and where food is coming from. And then the third one is advocacy, maybe on like a more so like government level, where we make sure that we can support the food producers that we have in town.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of the main goals of the local food initiative.
Yeah. And did you have a part in putting the market aspects together, like writing policies or?
Well, writing policies is an ongoing thing as the industry evolves, as vendors evolve, as you go through problems, you notice issues where you have to clarify your current policies. So that's ongoing. But when I joined, the farmers market was already established. So yeah, it was just picking it up, running it through COVID, and then moving back downtown and growing it.
Yeah. Was there someone in that position before you then?
Oh yeah. Before COVID, the market used to be on Mackenzie. It's like right downtown Revelstoke. Pretty small with maybe 25 vendors. And then during COVID, we had to move elsewhere to a big parking lot. And so we were able to welcome a lot more vendors. We had a lot more space. Plus, I think during COVID, a lot of people started to think about their own business. People got pretty creative.
Yeah,
so
maybe you could tell us some stories about that time and what you saw in that shift to this.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. A lot of people that maybe had been laid off because of COVID, they started up either as artists. They jumped in and tried it out. Artists, bakers, brewers, farmers, all sorts of vendors we saw during COVID. And some of them stayed and some of them went back to their regular jobs. Yeah.
So did you have a hand in, I guess, what is my question? I'm just thinking about the relationships with the vendors, with the people that are involved. And did you know a lot of the farmers and the people participating in the markets before you came on as the manager? Or is that part of the job? I guess I'm thinking about the different aspects of being the manager.
Well, both. So my partner and I, we had a little bakery during COVID times at the farmers market. So we got to know a lot of people through that. And then the year after, when I took the role as the market manager, you get to know the vendors on a very different level. Yeah, which is super fun. I love it.
Yeah. And of course, many of us have never had that experience to be a vendor at a market.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that was like? You had a bakery.
Yes.
So I imagine it was quite involved in a lot of very early mornings. And walk us through what that was like.
Oh yeah, it was late nights, early mornings. it's pretty stressful to put out your food and then get feedback from consumers. And you just hope that whatever you put out is good enough, I guess. And it was super well received. So for us, it was a super positive experience. But yeah, it's nerve-wracking. You never know if you're going to sell out or if you're going to fill a freezer with leftover bread, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And was it mostly bread, or how do you choose what products you're going to be selling?
Well, that's the fun part about being a vendor. You can kind of choose whatever you like. So we have a bunch of staples by now that we always have, and then depending on the season, we make different fruit cakes or stuff like that.
Right. I mean, being from Switzerland, did you get to revive some of your mom's
for sure
recipes or your grandma's recipes?
Yeah. We make one product. It's called a Zopf. It's a Swiss Sunday bread, where in Switzerland you can only buy it like Friday and Saturdays, and then you eat it on Sundays. So here we always tell the people that they're allowed to eat it on Saturday. We won't report back to Switzerland, so nobody gets in trouble for that.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, being a market vendor is a great way to start a business. You get consumer feedback right away. You can try different prices, see how people react. You can try different products with not a lot of startup costs. You don't have to pay for a brick and mortar business. You can just go, basically.
The summer market, is it quite large? How many vendors are you looking at?
Yeah, so by now, now that we're back downtown, in one summer, I see about 120 vendors. Some of them stay for the full 26 weeks. Some of them show up once. Some of them show up every other week, kind of depending on where they're at with their business. Yeah.
Right. And does everyone have the same size table, or there's different sizes they can set up? And they pay different table fees?
So the way it works is usually you get a 10 by 10 space for your regular market tent. But if two people are fairly small with their setup, they can share as well for a different price. And usually if you're a new vendor, you have to start out as a day vendor first. So you just pick random dates, and then the next year you can do a full season.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, we just want to test out the waters on both ends, make sure that, it's the kind of quality and product that we would like to see at our market. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So then as the manager, do you also have to look at your list of vendors and say, okay, we have 3 bakers already, or big goods, okay, done.
Yeah, trying to
curating the stalls a little bit is, I guess, what
that's a big part of it, and it's a very difficult one because you get to know your vendors on a very personal level. You want the best for them, but at the same time, I also have to navigate how much the market can take. Like, I don't need 15 farmers showing up with lettuce, because we're going to have a lot of lettuce in the compost at the end of the day, and that's not the goal. So we're trying to find the balance. Another thing is, we have so many jewelers and potters in this town. Yeah, at least the product's not going to go to waste, but I want them to have a successful day. So yeah, we're always trying to balance the product variety. Yeah.
So how do you navigate those conversations?
Yeah, they're not easy. So luckily, the way we're set up, we have a market advisory committee. It's a group of people, different stakeholders. Some of them are market shoppers. We have vendor representatives. We have members of the local food initiative that are on that board. We have neighboring businesses as well, because we know as a market, we impact neighboring businesses in a positive or negative way. So we want them to have a say as well. And so basically they're the ones that help me select vendors. It's not just me making stuff up, which is great. Because then if there's any kind of conflict, I'm just the messenger, which is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe you could share with us a success story that you helped mentor an up-and-coming vendor.
Ooh, I have a good one. During COVID, Stephanie joined the farmers market, and I believe she just moved to Revi, and she started a gluten-free bakery at the market. And back then she told me, like, I have this dream. I want to have this beautiful brick and mortar space. I want to sell only gluten-free products. So it's really safe for everybody that's sensitive. And I want to serve afternoon tea. Well, guess what? On Monday last week, she opened up her beautiful bakery.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for her.
What's the name
It's
of
awesome.
her bakery? Shout out.
Flourish Bakery.
Flourish Bakery.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a bunch of them that started at the farmer's market and now they are, doing it full time. Mm-hmm.
We need more Isabels. Mentoring, like mentorship's really important.
It's super important. And, you know, in Revelstoke, we have really good support for new businesses. There's like monthly meetings where you can just go or you go talk to Community Futures or Startup Revelstoke where you get support for free. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then we have the Winters Market. So how does it differ? It's not outside, obviously. It's indoors. So where's the location of that one?
The Winter Market takes place every other week at the Rec Center, indoors from November to April. It's a lot smaller, but it's still a great market. You can still get some fresh produce. And you know, the farmers that we have, their chickens, they don't stop laying eggs, right? Sure. So yeah, there's still a lot of product around. Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually eggs, meats, baked goods, a little bit of produce, usually some apples, Indian food is always there, wine, cider, stuff like that. Besides working part-time for the local food initiative, I'm self-employed, with a bunch of different projects. One is where I work as a consultant. I help food producers grow their business. Yes, it's called self-consulting.
And you have a great story about how you got the name for Senf. I asked, what does SENF stand for?
It's German for mustard. And in German, we have a saying that where you add your mustard, as in like you add your 2 cents. Because in consulting, working with my food producers, we do have a scope. But at the end of the day, when I see stuff that can be improved or should be taken care of, I definitely add my 2 cents or my mustard. That's where
It's a creative name. I love it. Yeah,
and I love mustard yellow, the color. So
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can tell us a little bit more about your consulting. I think,
sure.
Yeah, it's an important idea that you came up with. It's needed. And the people in Revelstoke are benefiting.
You know, a lot of the smaller food producers, they don't have a food safety manager. So they outsource to me. So I take care of all the regulatory aspects with like labeling, food safety plans, making sure food inspector is happy. But then also when you want to grow, you need what's called a federal license. And so your paperwork has to look a lot different. And as a food producer working in a small scale business, you're very hands-on. You're the one that bakes the bread, makes the pasta, like whatever your product is. And taking care of the paperwork can be a bit of a daunting task. But it's a task that eventually can get you into a lot of trouble if you don't care for it. I started offering that as a service to businesses. They can come and we work together to make sure that they are always compliant. And then we apply for grants, we buy machines, we work on their layout, we make sure that we get into new wholesale businesses if they want to work, let's say, Save on Food or something. We make sure that we get them into there and grow their production. Yeah.
Right. So do you have an example of that? Someone who's local who wanted to get their products into a Save On or a bigger grocery store?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. I actually don't know if I'm allowed to name them, but...
Or you could maybe use their product as an example.
Yeah, so my clients are all over BC, and it's from gluten-free bread to hot sauce to pierogies to sausages. It's pretty wide field, which I love. Then we're not always talking about the one product. It's very different. They're all at different stages in their businesses. Some of them are just starting out. Still waiting for lab results to hit the ground and put the product out. And others are trying to outsource production. so they don't have to stand in the bakery anymore and make bread.
Right. Or imagine, so if it's someone making hot sauce,
Mm-hmm.
could they start in their kitchen, but they would have a food safety inspector come to their kitchen to food safe it? Or how does that work?
You have to be so it depends on the risk category, but anything that basically can go bad, that not sitting on the counter, that has to be refrigerated or frozen, would have to be made in a commercial kitchen. And you know, there's lots of them where you can rent them by the hour or by the day. Super good way to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then figure it out, start selling at the farmer's market. It's easy. Yeah, and then grow it, get feedback, improve your product, improve your labeling. Yeah.
And it's been a few years that you've been doing this.
Yeah.
2021, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, officially 2021. Yeah. Yeah, it's been good though. Yeah, I love seeing people's businesses grow. We go through a lot of painful moments together too. When customers are not happy, I'm usually the one that then looks after that, and that just happens. That's the nature of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it can be quite frustrating. I'm thinking about a time we had a cafe,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, there were a lot of things to consider. And as a creative person, sometimes you just want to have fun and get creative and do all that side of things, and not spend hours with the food inspector.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure.
But that's yeah, it's important.
Yes, and so
it's
for
good learning
for them, having me on their team means like they're not alone too. When things go sideways, I'm there. We'll support. We come up with a plan and
exactly. Where
move
were
on.
you when I needed you?
There we go.
When I read that, I was like, oh, I needed Isabel. That would have been so helpful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
so
good.
then, when you're working as the LFI market manager,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of a nice crossover.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. You're building relationships, and people get to know who you are and trust you, and
Yep.
And then you can also clearly see how maybe some consulting could be very helpful.
Yeah. It's an interesting combination. With my two roles that I have, I guess. I also have a third one. I can maybe put that in there too. I started a platform where market organizers and vendors can meet.
Yeah, My Market Scout.
My Market Scout,
it's
yeah.
a brilliant idea.
And so, yeah, that also feeds into this. So I'm very invested in any sort of market-related things. Yeah, and that platform is again about helping vendors grow their business and markets grow their farmers markets as well. Yeah.
So are you working with someone who helps you build that platform and that website, or how does that come together?
Yeah, I'm not very good on the technology side of things, so whatever I'm not good at, I have to hire out. And I'm working with a local web designer. They used to be called Revy Web Design, and now they're called Kootenai Web Design. And they built a platform, and then I'm the brains behind how, like, what other tools to build that could be supporting markets. Yeah.
Right. So could you give us an example of how it works?
So if let's say you are a hot sauce producer and you sell at farmers markets, it's really hard to figure out where to go, when to go, how to apply. And a lot of the times when you hear about good markets to go to, the application window is already closed. You're too late. So then you have to wait until next year. Or if it's just like a pop-up one-day Christmas market, you hear about it now. Well, they probably took applications in January, right? So the platform really helps vendors to plan their season, to figure out where to go. And so as a market, you put up a profile, you say, like, we're looking for this kind of vendor. These are like the number of people that we think are going to come through the market, the demographic that comes through the market, and this is how you apply. Yeah, just like all the information in one space, because right now that's all been done through Facebook groups. And unfortunately, there's a lot of scams. There's people pretending to organize markets. You send them your vendor fee, you show up, and there's nothing going on.
Mm-hmm. And no one else has set up a platform like this?
No, not like that. Yeah, it's the first one in Canada.
Well, we'll let you get going because you have a busy day ahead of you. I really appreciate you making time for us, Isabel.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us on location in Revelstoke with Isabel Kessi, the Farmers Market Manager for LFI. And we'll see you again another time.
Thanks.